Hi, today I'm going to be making a jointing jig.
Let me fly towards my hands, towards my hands. Let me fly.
The basic idea behind this is basically you want to get one side of your piece of wood completely straight. And if you had a joiner, you could do that really easily just by running it through a couple times. But if you don't have a joiner, one thing that you can do is use your table saw to do this. And the idea is that whatever side you put on your table saw fence, that's how straight, or that's the line that your saw blade is going to follow when you run it through. So this thing, both sides are not straight, at least not perfectly. You could probably get away with running it through and be okay, but I want to make sure that it's completely 100% straight. So I'm going to use something that I know is straight, like these pieces of wood, and basically strap this to this, or clamp this to this thing, and that way you can run it through using this side of the piece of wood as your straight edge, and it'll make this side straight. And then once you have one side straight, you can ditch the jig, flip it over, run it through the other side, because you're going to be following a straight side. So let's get going. Okay, now that I've attached this piece to this piece, I'm going to use these toggle clamps, and these attach to this, and when you press down on this lever, it will put pressure down on your piece here and hold it in place. I figure 2 should be enough to hold our piece good enough to run it through a saw. So you may have noticed before me a problem that I am running into here. Basically, these things stick out past the edge of this piece of wood. So when you try to run it through, you're not going to be able to run it through. So what I'm going to do is just cut a piece of wood, rip a piece of wood, and just tack it on the end of this to make it stick out another inch or so, and we'll go from there. Alright, so we made the change. I added just 2 pieces of 3/4 inch plywood, leftover scraps that I had. And as you can see, when they're down, they won't bump into the fence. So let's give it a try, see how it does. Well, there it is. I've got a stack of very straight boards, at least on one edge. That's all I need though. Then I can run it through the table saw and the rest of the cuts will be as straight as that one, ideally. But yeah, pretty simple little jig. There will be limitations if there's ever anything that's skinnier than 4 inches. Right here, it'll go inside this edge, so you won't be able to cut that. If I got something that's too wide, this fence on this small table saw can only go a certain width, so if I have something that's too wide, then I won't be able to run that through. But ultimately, for little things like, you know, what I'm planning on doing, it's gonna work just fine. And if I ever need something that's better than that, I could make another jig. These are pretty inexpensive down at Harbor Freight, and this is just scraps that I had lying around. So yeah,